Hello, my name is Robbie. I go by the pronouns he, him. We are here on another Saturday morning to play Ron Edwards' role-playing game, Sorcerer. If I'm counting correctly, I believe this is session 7. I'm going to just go around really quick right now and have our players introduce themselves. One of our players is currently absent, but maybe dropping in midway through, but we'll go with the players who are currently here with us. And Jenny, why don't we start with you if you just want to give a quick introduction to yourself and a quick reminder of who your character is that you're playing.
Hi, I'm Jenny, she, her, and I play Dylan, a musician who has a demon that acts sort of like a muse, but things are starting to go horribly wrong.
Okay. And Alejandro?
I'm Alejandro, he, him. I'm playing Chuck, who grew up as a military brat traveling around the world with his ultra-conservative Christian military family. Somewhere along the line, he picked up, in Haiti, when he was young, he picked up a lucky chicken's foot that and turned out to have his demon attached to it, and he eventually became a sorcerer through that relationship. He is now because his family figured out that he's not a Christian. They abandoned him in Orlando, Florida, where he is a bouncer at the Smell, and has recently actually bound the demon to himself, or however that works in this game. And he's appreciating the trouble that's following Dylan.
Yeah, there was Chuck's demon especially likes to be witnessing kind of violent altercations of different types, and he definitely had that need met at the Barfield party. So we're gonna start off with just a kind of quick little thing that is happening at the tail end of the Barfield party, and then I think we will follow Chuck back to his apartment. But at the Barfield party, things took there were a few unexpected twists and turns. We had Dylan that was the object of a abduction attempt that Chuck helped Dylan out of. Dylan has kind of made his way back to the parking, to the kind of pull-up area at the mansion, was kind of there with Shawn, and things started to get a little bit worrisome because it became somewhat apparent that the senior police officer on site was talking to Winifred Levain, who had helped to set up the party. And there were kind of some suspicious looks that they were kind of darting in the direction of Dylan and Belle. And we have Papa Guyan, who is there as well. This is Chuck's demon, who was assisting in this effort to get Dylan free from the clutches of the sharp-toothed thugs. And I do want to just start off here then with a roll, and this will be a roll that will be pitting Papa Guyan's lore against basically it's the power of Belle, but would be the ability of Belle to kind of cover up her demonic presence. But I wanted to do a roll here just to see to what extent, if any, Papa Guyan was able to kind of see that Belle was in fact a demon. And so Alejandro, if you'll get to roll 5 dice, and these are 10-sided dice.
Just 5. It's just the will.
The lore.
Oh, my lore is 4.
Okay, but this would be Papagayan's lore that we.
Yeah, Papagayan's lore is 4.
It is, okay. So yeah, roll 4.
All right.
Okay, and then Jenny, Bell's power is 8, correct?
7.
7. Okay, so you'll roll 7. Boy, Jenny is like a monster with the. She rolled 3 10s. Okay, so what I would say is both Papagayan and Chuck do notice that. I mean, you recognize Belle because Belle often shows up at the smell when Dylan is performing, and so she is there. She does have blood on her. I mean, you can see that on her hands and also on her clothing. There are some signs of blood that are on her, and
that wouldn't be anything. That wouldn't indicate anything to Chuck. Because they were trying to abduct Dylan, it's possible that they were also trying to abduct Belle. So, yeah. So Chuck would just make of that what he would, and there certainly have been violent altercations. You saw that firsthand, and then also when you kind of walk out to the front, you see that there's this ambulance out there. There's a woman on a gurney who's been pretty bloodied up, and you have these police officers who are investigating the assault on that woman who is on the gurney. Okay, and so Chuck sees that okay, Dylan and Belle want to make an exit. That Shawn's kind of beat up car is getting pulled up by the valets, and they're going to want to make their way into the car, and we were talking just before the session started, right, about like, okay, you could definitely Alejandro, Chuck would do what? I mean, what did you imagine him doing to kind of help Dylan out? I imagine that the situation is less tense in this environment, like where everybody is. Like there's less overt attempts to try to grab Dylan anymore, or you know what I mean, like that. It's the attention's definitely on the chaos of the party and that kind of stuff. It is an opportunity for them to make a move, but I think that they feel like they've played their hands and whatever. However, Chuck, Dylan, and Shawn are freaking out, I imagine, and they don't know. They're still after us, and we see the cops. And it's, oh fuck, oh shit, and so we're like Shawn pulls up, and Dylan, Shawn pulls up, and Chuck and Dylan are going to the car, and we both look at the cops, and they're like looking at us, and I'm like I just you get in the car, and I'm like, look, and they start like walking towards us, and then I'm like, I got this, go, and so I start walking towards them, but maybe they weren't even really looking at us, and they maybe weren't really even walking towards us at that moment, but we were just kind of interpreting everything through through this lens. And then as Shawn pulls away, I kind of stand there, maybe take a few steps forward, and then the crowd just kind of closes up. And then I'm like, oh, okay. And so then I book it.
Yeah. And I mean, I think it is fair to say, I mean, this was a fairly sizable party, and with the turn of events was putting a somewhat premature end to the party, but definitely, you have people that are kind of gawking at what's going on, right? They see the police officers, they see the ambulance there, and the people are all kind of like, oh, what's going on? And right, people kind of talking, the rumor mill is starting up as to what all exactly has happened. So they get off, and you what would you do at the end of the party? I mean, that that during the assault on Dylan, that Winifred Levane had something to do with that. I mean, she was kind of in the background, but she was there with those two mean thugs. So in terms of Chuck leaving the party, exactly how would that happen?
Well, I think that there's two avenues that I could go.
Mm-hmm.
And one is more like independent play, and I don't think that that's going to be as interesting for all of us if I go in that direction. So I think that we just bail out. Actually, that actually makes most sense because Papa Guyan is exhausted at this point, right?
Yes.
If I remember, he has like one power point left or something like that.
Right.
Or like he's exhausted. So no, yeah, we just run to the car and just get the hell out of there.
Okay. Yeah. So, and that would not be a problem. I mean, that you have all these people milling around, and you're already out to the front of the mansion. So, kind of getting in your car and heading back to your apartment would not be a problem. When Chuck gets back to the apartment at the smell, is that where you would go? Is just head home?
I would probably go straight to the smell and get a beer. And if it's locked up and closed, because I don't know what time, like Alejandro doesn't know what time it is right now for them, I would just let myself into the smell and just get some beer.
Okay.
So
you're able to get yourself a beer, kind of cool off a little bit. Papa Guyan is appreciative of having a little time of rest. When you go back to, and you have your apartment upstairs, right? When you go back to your apartment, you had your brother Billy who was around, and Billy is not in the apartment. Billy has left a message for you, written it out on a piece of paper. And the message says, Chuck, it was great to see you again. But I have to leave. Mom and Dad are worried, and I've found some information about Blake Figueroa, who is behind this attempt to scare Mom and Dad and the rest of our family. Okay, so he's mentioned this name, Blake Figueroa, and says, basically he's leaving because he's got some information about this person. You do notice that your computer is on. Chuck notices that the computer is on, and there is it's open right now to some strange website that is a website that is put together by a group called The Vengeance. And it's a group of from what you can see, I mean, it has some type of statement of who they are, but basically it's a group of kind of hackers, computer hackers who are not happy with the corporate and governmental powers that are assaulting our individuality. Okay, I mean, it's like this group called The Vengeance. They have these, it seems like kind of these ideals about human independence and individuality, and that they are kind of worried that large groups like governments and corporations are, you know, removing our independence and our individuality, and so that they're going to kind of use their hacking ability to try to kind of put a monkey wrench into those groups.
I'm going to, well, I'm just going to quickly look at the search history, and just to get an idea to see what my brother was looking at, like what other things he was looking at.
Okay, yeah. When you do that, you would see that, you know, he was going around kind of, you know, in this website run by the Vengeance, and also doing some searches on like what exactly this group was. You do see occasionally the name Blake Figueroa appearing in some of that material. It seems like Blake Figueroa is, you know, one of the leaders of this group is this guy named Blake Figueroa. You'll find, you know, that his name occasionally appears as, I mean, it's a somewhat decentralized group, but, you know, there are, you know, some names that you'll see kind of coming up with some frequency as being, you know, people within the Vengeance, they admire them, or, you know, they kind of look up to people like Blake Figueroa for inspiration or for some guidance as to, you know, what they should be doing.
All right. Yeah. So I'm just going to start doing my own research. I mean, I'm sure I'm exhausted. Papagayan is probably curled up somewhere sleeping. But yeah, so I'm going to start doing some research on Blake Figueroa.
Yeah, and I would say what, you know, what you're able to figure out, in terms of a geography, Blake Figueroa does seem to be active in the Atlanta, Georgia area.
Which is where my folks are, right?
Do what?
Which is where my family is right now. Is that right?
I don't know. I think your family was off in Mississippi.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. This name Blake Figueroa has come up before, though. That, you know, a few sessions ago, the name did come up. I believe it may have been Shawn who was able to kind of. It is a name that was attached to those kind of grainy. Well, you had those pictures of your family members that had appeared on a kind of Instagram account. And I think it was Shawn that was able to kind of pin down that this account had been started by a guy named Blake Figueroa, who lived somewhere in the Atlanta area.
Okay. I don't think I was here for that session.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. But
yeah, so the name does ring, right, a bell, and it was kind of associated with these kind of, I mean, you don't know what the purpose is. I mean, you had that I mean, it was this, this Instagram account that was new, and it had just been created specifically to put these pictures up, and they were pictures of some of your family members, and they had like some kind of, in all the pictures, they had some type of kind of blurred figure, but in some of those blurred figures, you could make out that there was like a chicken leg charm that was being worn around the neck of this figure.
Okay. I think I would also be preoccupied with Dylan and Shawn, but mostly Dylan, because my experience is mostly with Dylan. So like, I'm probably like periodically going to my window and looking out my window and hoping Dylan comes by, but not because I don't think I have any way of contacting Dylan.
Mhm.
So I'm probably just like, with lack of any other resource of getting hold of Dylan, I just keep looking out my window.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm also looking at my chicken's foot and trying to determine if it's the same one. Like, how old are these pictures, or if, I mean, they got the pictures are, because I've had the chicken foot for a long time, so
Mhm.
maybe it's not the same one, but they're related somehow. So maybe it's the other foot of the chicken.
Yeah. I think we did establish that one of the things about that one chicken foot that appears in the pictures is that it has one of the digits that is kind of bent and twisted backwards. And the sense was that the chicken charm is typically used as one of kind of protection, but that with this particular configuration of that twisted back digit, that it probably does not mean protection, but something maybe the opposite of that, like some type of aggression, or some type of offensive power that it might be used for.
Malevolence. Yeah.
Yeah.
So does my foot also do that?
No.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. So I think what we can do is, you're looking out there for a car to pull up, and it doesn't pull up. I would say at some point, you get exhausted, and it's time for rest. Let's then go to Dylan. We're going to move it up to the next day, and Jenny, you can kind of take it from here. Let us know what Dylan would be up to the next day.
So I think that what Dylan is. Sorry, I'm kind of talking around a cat who won't move off the keyboard. She'll be my actor, I guess. I guess what Dylan does is the next time he expects Chuck at the smell, so at the start of Chuck's shift, then he would like go and try to talk to him. Oh, I guess it would have to be before there was a time limit on the Barfield thing. So before that, he would go and talk to Chuck.
Okay, so we could probably say it would be the middle of the next day.
Yes.
And yeah, so and that I mean, not only do you know that Chuck works there, but I think you would know that right, he lives above the smell. There are some apartments up there, and that's where.
Yeah, I doubt it. I doubt it's a great secret where Chuck lives.
Yes.
I mean, he's like always at the smell because.
Right.
Oh.
And you occasionally would, possibly if you had forgotten something or needed to run up to your apartment, it's kind of quick and convenient for you to be able to do that. So Dylan would go. Are you just going to go up to the apartment and knock on the apartment door?
Yeah.
Okay. And let me also ask, is Belle going to be with you? No, this is just going to be you. And so Chuck hears a knock on the door. It's around noontime the following day.
So actually, since I know where Chuck's apartment is, I just like go immediately, really.
You just go up. Okay.
Yeah, as soon as I like get that text from Stuart Barfield.
Okay. Yeah. Did we establish, like, when did that happen? Was that the next day, or was that like the same evening?
I think it was the next morning.
Okay.
And I think he wanted to meet later in the day, or
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So we'll just move it up, and it's going to be in the morning, right? That Dylan comes over, and you hear a knock on your door.
Yeah, as probably staying up late, probably only had a few hours of sleep. But as I know, you can still function on only a few hours of sleep sometimes. So yeah, I go and I just don't, I don't even ask or anything. I just open the door. I'm in some like old used boxer briefs, and that's it. I'm like, hey, Dylan, and then oh, Dylan, yeah, come in. And I close the door behind you, and I'm like, Dylan, like, oh my God, that was crazy. It was kind of awesome too, but it was crazy.
Yeah, I know. Thanks for helping me out, man. Like, I don't know what I would have. Well, I would have not gotten away without you.
Yeah, it's all good. Just I'm a bouncer, I guess.
Did they give you any trouble after, like, we separated?
No, no, there was just too much chaos. It was too crazy. So I just hoofed it. I went to my car and came back here. Apparently, my brother went back home. So, yeah.
Wait, without telling
So
you or anything? What?
he left me a note. He left me a note. So yeah.
Oh, okay.
Why did those people want you? Like, what was that all about?
Yeah, I don't really know, man. But his eyes kind of like go away just for a moment. Like, maybe he's not telling the whole truth.
Yeah. Well, I guess you know now that you got to stick with your band. You can't abandon your band.
Yeah, I guess so.
pour
It's like karma or something. Look, so
I
something
pour you out a glass of milk, and
thanks, man. Something weird happened after I got home. So my girlfriend, Belle, right? She got this really weird text, and here. So Dylan offers the phone to Chuck with like the message right there.
yeah.
And then Dylan says, well, so she gave it to me so that I could look into it. And then I kind of texted this guy a bit, and he's saying he's Stuart Barfield.
Does that name ring to Chuck at all?
What, the name Stuart Barfield?
Yeah.
Just that was the mansion that the party was
Oh,
at.
that's right. Oh, yeah,
Okay.
that's right. Okay.
But I guess the strange thing about that is that Stuart Barfield never made, to your knowledge, an appearance
Yeah.
at the party.
Huh. So I sit down, like I look for where Papa Gayan is, and I sit down next to him as I watch the video, and so I can make sure that Papa Gayan. I mean, it might look like a little weird that I'm kind of watching it with my cat, but I'm trying to be casual about it, but I'm not too concerned.
Yeah. So when you watch the video and Papa Gayan can see the video, I mean, Papa Gayan seems very interested. Also, Papa Gayan seems a little confused as to what exactly this means. You had, Chuck, you had sent Papa Gayan around during the party to kind of check out the security system. I should point out, I mean, we had
to find out where the surveillance room was.
Correct, where the surveillance room was. This kind of gritty footage of the assault, it is taken from a camera that is pretty high up. I mean, it's like a camera that would be like nearly ceiling level, okay, kind of shooting down at the people who are involved, right? The victim and the one who is doing the assault. They're being kind of shot from above. Papa Gayan, when Papa Gayan went around the Barfield mansion to kind of try to see, was there a central security room? Where were these security cameras? The cameras all seem to have power going to them. But in terms of like where they would be feeding to, that was somewhat baffling. And in fact, there were some cameras where Papa Guyan would kind of look at them and not really see any kind of cable or anything leading out of the cameras. So, you know, there just seemed to be something odd going on with the security system. Everything is powered up, but the indications as to where the kind of feeds would be going, or whether even some of them had, you know, kind of any kind of cable hookup or something like that, that was a kind of baffling feature. And so like Papa Guyan is, you know, kind of saying, you know, thinking, you know, how could this be, right? Like where, you know, this camera obviously.
The impression I'm getting, because, you know, we have Wi-Fi, right?
Mhm.
But when you have that many cameras, you're not going to rely on Wi-Fi, because then you have to change the batteries like every month, and nobody wants to do that. So there would be more involved than that.
Mhm.
But so one of the impressions I have now retroactively is that the cameras were probably like just dummy, like, you know, like wooden owls on a pole type cameras.
Mhm.
So the fact that they were actually functional was kind of weird.
Yeah.
So I look at Dylan and I'm like, so this doesn't make sense, because the camera is there were dummy cameras. Those weren't real. The surveillance wasn't real there. So I don't know how this. Barfield is the guy that put the party on, but this doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I don't know, but maybe they were concealed or something, because this is
No,
definitely Lily Papas, the
it's
music.
definitely what?
This is Lily Papas, the music lady who got me that
Yeah.
gig.
Yeah, and I can identify the room, right? Like it's yeah. I'm like, yeah, no, this was that night. I remember. I can see. And is that Bell? Do I recognize Bell in the video?
Yeah, I mean, I think, as I say, it's pretty grainy, but yeah, I mean, I think you saw Belle right at the end of
No,
the evening. The clothing looked similar, right? That
yeah, but does it look like Bell in the video? Like, can I go, oh, that's Bell, or am I like I'm actually going to like how do we like if this is Bell, like if I can tell this is Bell, how do we cover this up? Like how do we protect Bell? You
right?
know what I mean?
Hmm.
If I can recognize it as Bell, because I'm sure I'm not like I'm sure I'm not like going, huh, those are the same, you know, Lucky Brand jeans that Bell was wearing that night. You know, I'm not analyzing it too much. So
Yeah. What I would say is that the lighting in the room when this happened was dark, and so it is pretty fuzzy, right? The
okay.
images.
So then okay. So I think I don't recognize it as Bell unless you're going to tell me that I explicitly do. It doesn't seem like I would. So I hand the phone back to Dylan and I'm like, who's? I mean, I recognize the one woman, but who's the assailant? Is this like, do you know who the assailant is?
Yeah, I don't know. I can't really tell from this picture.
Well, then why would they send it to you? That doesn't make sense.
So I choose not to correct that idea that it was sent to me instead of Belle, even though I kind of like said that earlier. This is just a little convenient. And it's like, I don't know. Maybe it's some kind of threat because he wants to meet up.
Yeah, the guy that was trying to drag you out of there with pointy teeth buffoons.
Yeah, that guy.
Okay. I go to my kitchen and I open up a drawer and I pull out a gun and I put the gun on top of the it's like the
Whoa,
utility
whoa,
drawer.
whoa.
What?
Uh, you have a gun in your kitchen drawer?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
My,
It's kind of like, yeah.
my my dad is a Marine, so
Oh. Dylan's still just kind of like, whoa, I'm a little uncomfortable. I didn't quite expect that.
I'm
Like,
like, no, it's cool.
we're
I've been training with this since I was 4.
not gonna kill the guy, are we?
We need to go prepared. They were fucking meaning business. Those people don't file their teeth down like that because they're joining the Mickey Mouse Club.
Dylan's just kind of like centering himself, and then he's like, okay, yeah, so what do you think? Should we go like at this time or?
Well, I think we should go, but wait for whoever to show up, and just kind of see what happens. Like not like hide in the shadows and see what they do while we're hiding and watching.
Okay. So I'll just text him back, letting him know that he should expect, well, Belle, because he actually sent this message to her.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
Wait, so they sent this message to Belle, and they're trying to abduct you. What the fuck is all this about? This is weird.
Yeah, I don't
Bill,
know.
is
Maybe
this something you need to tell me? I mean, I was just hired because I was just a hired muscle. But what? I mean, you're good. You're a good singer. What's this all about? Dylan, sit down. Let me know.
can I do a telltale roll at this point? Because like at this point, there's like
Yeah, no,
something.
yeah, I think you can. Now it's going to be challenging for you because it goes off of your lore, and you're you're a naive one when it comes to this. But yeah,
I will give her a bonus. like I will help her. Like Papagayan is totally attentive and like
right
watching us talk. You
yes.
know, and it's not just normal cat involved like trying for attention. It's like involved in the conversation as an active listener.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. So,
in that case, he clearly wants cuddles, so I think I'm gonna go over and like scratch him under the chin.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I am going to give, you know, yeah, given the situation, and I think also because, you know, with Sorcerer for role playing and such things, you can give an added bonus. So we'll go with your lore roll, which is 1. We're going to add, I think, 2 additional dice to that, both for role playing and because just the situation is such that, you know, there are kind of indications being kind of sent out that like Papagayan is not necessarily a normal cat.
And then I subtract 1 because I'm in denial.
Yes, so that makes you back down to 2.
But is there any way for me to give her bonus dice, like helping dice?
What? Because you are you wanting? I mean, does Chuck actively want her to pick up on the sorcery element here?
No. I think that Papagayan is just putting everything is like totally like interested in what's going on and is just giving up the ghost. Like his cover is blown. Like he's not paying attention to his cat. Like when she tries to pet him, he's like, wait, no. He like backs up. He's like, no, I'm listening. Like, stop touching me. You know, I'm listening. You know, like total like not cat behavior.
Right.
Honestly, sounds like normal cat behavior to me.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I have a backup plan.
Yeah. I think what we could do is so Papagayan's power is what? Is 6? Is that right?
Yeah, 6.
Let's give him a -1 on this, so that would give him 5 instead of 6.
Okay.
Okay. And we'll see what happens.
Okay, so should I roll 5?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Now's when you need it. Now's when you need to roll those 10s. Yeah. No.
Yep. So yeah, for Dylan, this seems like just like normal kind of interested cat behavior.
Yeah, Dylan's more of a dog person, and that kind of reflects in how he's like trying to pet Papagayan too. It's like, and then he's talking. He kind of hesitates. He's kind of buying time with this cat bothering, I guess. And then he says, "So I think Belle's kind of involved in some messed up shit. Like, I don't know. I think her family might have been, some kind of, you know, mob or something."
Um. All right. All right. I've you're silenced. I, I I've dealt with thugs like that before. These weren't. They're not as. The mob's mundane. Trust me. We can. I can easily deal with them.
Dylan just kind of like, wow, those military guys, like, they're hardcore. And then he just kind of says, it's like, I don't know, she's been so controlling lately, and she's been like threatening to get violent a bit, and
It sounds like you need to dump her. I mean, she's cool. She puts on a good show. I mean, when she can mosh with the rest of them, but if she's, I mean, if she's just not, if you got to dump her, you got to dump her. I mean, I've seen the way she is with some of your bandmates. You got to choose.
yeah, I just can't. I mean, like, we've been dating for so long, and this is just
Whooped.
phase.
You're whooped. You gotta. She's no good. I mean, I've been there. I've been there. You meet that perfect woman, and then they're just not.
We just have this connection. I mean, it's really hard to explain, but it's like, I don't know if I could make music without her. Like, she's just been so supportive.
Dude, you need to watch the movie Sid and Nancy. Um, yeah, I mean, no, I'm sure that that's actually the opposite of the truth. If you got rid of her, you're gonna release something, and you're gonna like that'll be the real power.
Okay, look, thanks. I appreciate it. It's just it's really complicated. Let's just handle the Barfield thing.
Yeah, and
Yeah, it's your thing. I'm not gonna, it's your thing. I got your back.
yeah, I would say it would make some sense because Belle has this link with Dylan as one of the demon powers. I mean, it's in a link, it's not like, oh, you all always have complete telepathic communication, but you do hear as the this conversation is developing, you do get kind of a ping from Belle, just kind of the kind of like, what's going on, Dylan? What are the plans?
So I think I'm kind of like feeling a little decentered right now because, like, I may have just like hijacked this whole conversation about our plans into a talk about my terrible non-relationship with my demon.
Mhm.
So I think that she would probably be able to pick that up as well as my location. And I think I'm definitely like trying to hold back and like trying to seem cool about things. Like I'm trying to hide things without seeming like I'm hiding things.
Okay.
I think it's totally obvious to Chuck that you're doing that. Like, but it's reasonable within the situation. You know, like he gets it. You're whooped, and you're just kind of caught up in that. And it's like, all right, I'll give you this. I gave you my advice. You don't want to take it. That's cool. I'm, you know, we're friends. And at that, when I see that tension, I actually bring out some natural lights, even though it's like 3 o'clock or not 3. It's early in the morning. I hand you like a natural light, like just
Yes.
terrible. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess we just pass time until like it's time to go after Stuart Barfield.
Yeah, and if you're gonna wait there, let's Walter. Good morning. Nice to have you back with us. I think what we could do is we could go back to Shawn and do a scene with him now. And how Jenny and Alejandro, how are you doing right now? Do you want to take a quick little break right now, and then we'll do?
I'm good.
You're good. You're good. Okay. So we Walter, just to catch you up with what was going on, we have Dylan had paid a visit to Chuck the next day, and they've been kind of talking about going back to the Barfield mansion because the Dylan was sent some video footage that had been released on the internet that kind of showed this assault that had been happening. And we saw some of this from last session, but Dylan was.
Let me clarify. It wasn't pointed out to me that it was going back to the Barfield mansion. If I knew that, I would have had a totally different approach. So I thought it was some other location that they were going to meet at. But if it's going back to the Barfield mansion, it's like, that's dicey.
Yeah. Well, let's do that a little bit more then. I mean, because that is where the message wants you to go, right? It would be to go back to the mansion.
Yeah, so specifically in front of the mansion. Like I already asked if he could leave the grounds, and he was just like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna." I think
Okay.
he said he was bedridden.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
To Chuck that he would be bedridden. Then he would say, okay. Then he would go to his closet and pull out like an M16 and go, okay, we're gonna need the real shit.
Yeah, pretty much the same scene as before.
Yeah.
Where Dylan just like, "What the fuck, man?"
Incidentally, that happened to me in real life. I was at my girlfriend's house and I was hanging out with my girlfriend and her Rastafarian boyfriend, and her Rastafarian roommate. And then like we were just talking about guns, and he's like, "Yeah, I love guns." I'm like, "You love guns? You're Rastafarian, me not knowing anything about Rasta." And he's like, "Yeah, yeah." And he pulls out this M16. I'm like, "Why do you have an M16?" And she had like a 4-year-old child. It was not a good situation. Anyways, go ahead. I'm sorry.
All right. So yeah, we're gonna go to Shawn, and Shawn, it's the next day right now. Okay, and you've had this. It's also the case that you have had a discussion with Diana. There was a discussion of this person who had been kind of trolling the Eighth Laurel, and an idea about trying to deal with this person. Diana was clearly not happy about this person.
Yeah, this is the person that calls himself the Revealer.
Correct. Correct. And has this website called Cults Exposed that deals with various types of cults, but of late, the Eighth Laurel has been the particular focus of this situation. And I think that last time, kind of talking about different possibilities, there was a suggestion of maybe trying to lure the revealer out so that you might be able to have some type of confrontation with the revealer, and maybe use that as an opportunity to more effectively deal with what he's doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I'm trying to remember again. Did I see this video? Did Dylan show Shawn this video as well? I don't recall, or if that's just something that only. Yeah, I think so, right? Because we were like in the car or something when Dylan first got the video on his phone. Was that right? I can't remember now. Oh, Jenny left. Anyway, I was just trying to tie together if that's the same thing. But yeah, so there's the revealer, and Diane wanted me to like bring out the revealer, but I don't remember what we decided on, if we had like decided on a strategy for that yet. Do you recall?
Yeah. Well, first of all, Jenny, do you remember did Belle, does Shawn and Aaron, do they know about the video?
So they don't know about the video, but I don't know what Belle and Aaron were really talking about. So they might have like shared that, oh, I beat up this girl and it was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Aaron and Belle seem to have like connected. I remember that. Okay, so yeah, so were you Robbie, were you asking if Shawn had some sort of plan on dealing with the revealer then? Was that part of what was going on?
Yeah, well, yeah, because getting in touch with the revealer is not going to be a problem. I mean, you have the website, Cults Exposed website, and even though the revealer does not reveal his identity, there is a contact there. He's also been in touch with you previously, right? I mean, right. It had come out previously that he kind of knew a little bit about you, and also knew a little bit about Diana, which was kind of surprising. That had come out a few sessions ago. That he had some, for some reason, had some knowledge of Diana's operation within the Eighth Laurel. But yeah, Shawn, it can pretty much, if he wants to kind of be in communication with the revealer, that would not be a problem. You can get messages to him.
Yeah, this feels like a big threat. I think I need to take care of the revealer. Shawn is, and it feels like Diane is pressuring Shawn that way as well, right? To quiet the revealer.
Yeah, well,
find out more about them.
Yeah, and the way that Diana had presented this was that this would be a kind of useful thing in terms of Shawn's growth and his kind of understanding of the kind of powers that are out there in the world that are available, and that this would be a kind of good stepping stone operation as well, to do something to somehow handle the revealer.
Yeah. So given that Aaron or Arathael is really into the internet and has perception, this like aura reading,
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if Arathael has the ability to like read auras via the internet, like maybe just by like going over the website, or maybe even just messages from the revealer. If Arathael can gain some perception, is there like some kind of?
Yeah, I think we have established that that Arathael's perception ability specifically involves the ability to kind of judge things that are kind of working through the internet. So we could definitely do something with that. What in particular would he? I mean, is there anything specifically that you'd want Arathael to pick up on?
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's possible to like track down something about the revealer or get like a profile on them, right? Like what information can we tell from their aura? I'm almost imagining like this kind of like Sherlock Holmes like kind of magic deductive power of like, oh, well, given that there's this, special, bits hidden in their like, email signature, and that there's, this particular code used on the JavaScript of their website. Like clearly they, must have these kind of contacts, they like, learn to code from so and so, or they hired this company to write the website for them, or they live in this neighborhood, or I don't know what, but I'm imagining something like that.
Yeah. So let's go on and do a roll, and we can go on and clear the dice. And Arathael's lore is a 6. So let me get you to roll that, and I'm going to roll a 3 opposition, and
Okay.
we'll see what that does.
All right. So should we start by clearing all the dice?
Yeah, go on and clear those out, and then roll 6 10-sided dice.
60-10. Okay.
Okay, so you get a success on that. I would say that you are able to pick up, or Aaron is able to pick up, that this Cults Exposed website has contributors. I mean, it's not just the revealer who does it, but there seem to be other contributors, other people kind of involved in this operation. The revealer does seem to be somebody who is in the Florida area, and also the yeah, and I guess it's clear that the revealer has had, even though it seems like a recent targeting of the 8th Laurel, that the revealer has had a kind of interest in the 8th Laurel for some time.
Okay. Interesting. So is it possible that it's like someone who's already inside the 8th Laurel? Does it seem like it's possible that this is someone who's like inside the 8th Laurel? Do they seem to have like an intimate knowledge of the 8th Laurel that maybe they would only have if they were like a former member or a current member?
Well, the fact that he had known about Diana, and that you had that connection with Diana, I guess not possibly inside, but I mean, there does seem to be like some special knowledge that he seems to be getting with respect to this. And he also is suggesting, yeah, I mean, that he does think that there is something going on within the 8th Laurel that is especially troubling, and that makes it different than other cults.
But the revealer thinks that the 8th Laurel is different from other cults.
Right.
Okay. Interesting.
And the name, he does in some of his messaging reveal Diana as somebody who is well, it is worth keeping an eye on, and who is not necessarily as she seems.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, I'm all right. It doesn't give me a whole lot to go on as far as trying to like track down the revealer. So I guess I'll send the revealer a message, and uh, and I'll say I'll say, hey, something's been bothering me lately, and I feel like I might not be safe, and I feel like maybe you can help me. Can we talk? I write that message to the revealer.
You get a reply back fairly quickly, and the revealer says, "Why? What exactly is going on?" And of course, I'm willing to help, especially if you are beginning to see the light and have interests in getting the truth about the eighth laurel.
Yes, I am, and I I worry that they're that I'm being watched. So if we could arrange to meet somewhere privately, I would appreciate it.
Yeah, the revealer says, sounds good to me. Where would you like to meet?
It's a good question. I wonder if the revealer knows where I live. I wonder. I might just. Um, I think I might actually say in the smell and take a chance that the revealer doesn't know where I personally live, and see if they'll fall for that and if they'll like show up down there.
Yeah, so when you say the smell, the revealer says, I guess we could meet there. Are Do you feel safe there? Question mark.
Um, uh, I say, well, it seems like uh, it seems like the kind of place where we would be left alone.
Okay, yeah, and so the revealer will say, yeah, fine. When do you want to meet?
Uh, as soon as possible. What time is it now? What time of day is it right now? Anyway, where are we?
I think we can make this like the mid morning.
Okay, so this is like the day after the Barfield party. Is that
Yes.
what's happening? Okay.
Yeah.
So it's probably not open yet. I'll say like, or maybe I don't know. Well, the spell, I imagine the smell, it's like in the evenings when the bands are playing, it gets relatively packed. But like in the middle of the day, they're like open serving drinks, but there's not many people there.
Right.
And so I'll suggest that like early afternoon that we meet there, knowing that it'll be relatively empty.
Okay. Okay. So why don't we do that scene, and then we can see if we'll just, in terms of the time frame here, we'll say that you set up that meeting, and the meeting at the Barfield place will be still the same afternoon, but just a little bit later. Okay. So the early afternoon rolls around, and you work your way down to the smell, and you see somebody.
Can I interject here?
Yeah.
At some point, I would Dylan and I would probably go down to the smell. So if that would not be inconceivable, right?
Correct.
So if you want us to jump in, that's an opportunity. But if you don't and you want to keep this, that's also cool. I'm just
Okay.
Yeah. No, I mean, I like that. Like, and I'm figuring like probably even right, like Aaron will probably, if Bella happens to be there, Aaron and Bella are probably doing their thing too. I don't know if I must tell Aaron about this, right? I'm sure I'm telling Aaron what my plan is, and Aaron's going to be there with me. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I think Aaron would definitely be there. I guess before we get going on this, what are your Walter? What are Shawn's plans with respect to this meeting? I mean, obviously, you're going to find out more information about the revealer.
Yeah. So Shawn is not very savvy. Shawn is doesn't have much of a plan. Shawn is feeling very proud of himself that he like thinks he managed to like, you know, coax the revealer into meeting him at all. But Shawn actually doesn't have a plan beyond that. He's not that clever.
Okay.
So he's just flying by the seat of his pants now. But he just wants to get a look at this revealer person and see what happens.
Okay. Okay. So we'll put you down there. Aaron is with you. Are you going to have Aaron sit at the same table with you, or just like somewhere else in the smell is where he'll be?
I think that's actually better. I think I'll like sit down and like let Aaron be. Well, Aaron has really heightened perception, so I think Aaron is like sitting, you know, somewhere else, not close enough that Aaron can overhear and maybe help out if needed. But it'll just look like I'm on my own.
Okay. So you get in there. There is a somebody who you do not recognize. He's a looks like a guy in his late 20s, very close cropped hair. He looks very clean. He's wearing a white shirt, has a kind of comfortable blazer on, and he's sitting at a table. And you can see a large Bible that he has positioned in front of him. And he's just kind of sitting there drinking a kind of soda water or something like that as you walk in.
Okay, and he looks pretty conspicuous then. Does not look like one of the normal clientele here.
No, he does. He does stand out.
Okay. I mean, of course, I don't either. I probably look a bit more like he does. And so probably nobody thinks anything of it when I go sit down next to him. Everybody's like, yeah, they look like they're here to meet each other. Why are they here? We don't know. And I sit down and I say, hi, my name's Shawn.
Yeah, and he'll he'll introduce himself. His name is Stefan Shapiro, and he says I do go by the Revealer online, but my name is Stefan. I'm glad you got in touch with me. I've been, as you probably know, I've been following the Eighth Laurel, and been very, very worried about this. And it's always great when I see somebody within a group like the Eighth Laurel who kind of reaches out for some help. And I'm always willing to lend a hand.
Well, thank you, Stefan. That's really great to hear. I just feel like they have such a tight grip on me that I'm afraid to leave. I mean, how would I even go about leaving?
So what are you afraid of? I mean, have people been making threats?
Not directly, but they know where I live. They know everything about me. I mean, all of my friends are in the Eighth Laurel. I mean, I feel like if I leave, I'm not going to have anybody. I'm going to be all alone. They're going to come by my house and harass me. I mean, I don't think I need to worry about my physical safety, but I just don't know. I mean, it's everything I have. what's left for me if I leave?
You say that, and Stefan will start kind of trying to console you, to kind of give you assurance. He says, there are many caring people and caring groups out there, and if it comes to you needing to have a place where you feel safe and where you feel secure, I can definitely put you in touch with people who would be more than willing to kind of give you the kind of support and the resources that you need. He'll also kind of open up his Bible, and he'll start to kind of talk, point to some Bible verses that talk about the strength of God and the ability of God to offer safety and reassurances to those who trust him in their time of need.
Okay. I think Shawn is just gonna basically play along and kind of go along with looking at the Bible verses. And in Shawn's mind, though, he's like, yeah, whatever. But he wants to get the information, who is he going to put him in contact with? I think he just wants as much contact information about this person as he can, who his friends are, maybe what church or organization he might work with. And then Shawn's just going to file this information away and go do some research on it later.
Okay. Now, while this conversation is going on, you get into it a few minutes, and Aaron will walk up behind Stefan, and he's going to put his hand on Stefan's shoulder from behind, and Stefan looks up and says, "Hello, who are you?" And Aaron looks over at you, Shawn.
Oh, and I'm like, what? Oh my! Oh, what are you doing here? How did you know I was going to be here? I look kind of. I'm playing terrified of Aaron. Like I didn't know that Aaron was going to be here. He put his hand on my shoulder. You said, right?
No, he puts his hand on Stefan's shoulder.
Okay, maybe that's not what's going to happen then. All right, never mind. Scratch that. Do I have a sense of what Aaron is trying to do right now?
I don't know. He kind of glances down at Stefan, and he has a kind of relaxed, kind of happy look on his face.
Aaron does.
Yes.
Okay. I think Shawn's just gonna kind of play dumb. Shawn's not sure what because Aaron hasn't mentioned that he would do this. Aaron was only going to help out if something was going wrong. So yeah, I think maybe after an awkward pause, I'm kind of like, can we help you? Just kind of to get something out of Aaron.
Yeah.
What's going on with Stefan right now?
Well, Stefan, he doesn't. He seems a little confused. I mean, he doesn't seem like he's freaking out or anything like that. I mean, doesn't feel like he's under a threat, but he's just And Stefan looks to you and says, "Look, I realize that things may seem difficult for you right now, but look, we can leave this place together if you want to, and if you're feeling like under some immediate threat or pressure, I can certainly lead us to a place where you feel some sense of safety and peace."
Yeah, I'd like that. Let's do that. And I think Shawn thinks oh good, I'll find out where where Stefan is from or whatever. I'll just go. I'll let Stefan lead me right into his lair, and then I'll have that information. This is Shawn's master plan.
Yeah. Walter, just kind of moving out of the narrative right now, what I was thinking of having Aaron do right now is to try a hop.
Yeah, I thought so. That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah. So should we go on and do that? Because I mean, it does say, you know, he should be in touching distance, which he is right now, and we could. I guess we could try it out now in the smell, or if you want to kind of leave the smell and do it somewhere else, we could do it there. There aren't that many people in the smell right now. I mean, it's a few people milling around, but it's pretty relaxed and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll let you decide what you think Aaron would do in this situation, but I'm down with it being like kind of a dramatic scene in the smell. Like, you
Okay.
know, we might as well ramp things up
Yeah.
if
So
that makes sense.
yeah. So the way that Aaron might play this out would be to say, I'm a friend of Shawn's, and uh, I've had similar feelings about the eighth Laurel. And when Shawn told me that you had been in touch, I was so excited about this. And he kind of pulls up a chair next to, kind of sitting between the two of you, and he says, Aaron says, I think it's great. I think maybe, yeah, going to some place of safety. But maybe we could, for right now, just like hold hands and say a prayer.
Can we say that this is the exact moment that Chuck and Dylan like walk down with their suspicious bags?
Sure. Yeah. And, you'll see people milling around the smell, and you'll see this, off in the corner, you see, Shawn and Aaron there with some person, and they're kind of starting to kind of bow their heads at this table. Okay.
I think Chuck's gonna want to, like, he sees this and he's gonna want to interrupt because he's grew up with this. But I want to let you have your role and have your moment before I come.
Okay. All right. So let's do that. So the hop, Demon does have to be in touching range. You're all holding hands now, so definitely we've got that going on. And it does say the hop is visible and obvious unless cloak is taken. Without this ability, okay. So, I'm debating whether he does have the cloak ability. So I guess there would be some kind of cloaking. Although it's so kind of quiet there. I mean, it may not be an absolutely private place, but it's not like it's really bustling with activity. So I don't think Aaron is.
The thing, well, I mean, I think the cloak like hides that the new person who's possessed is being possessed, as opposed to they like can kind of pass or something. But the thing that I think is interesting is the last part of the hop move. It says a possessor cannot leave a host until the host is physically killed. In either case, once separated, without the ability for cloak.
Correct.
Wait.
Correct.
Oh, without the ability for cloak, they have to be physically killed. Oh, okay. So with cloak, then they can leave. Oh, but if not, then they suffer. In either case, once separated, it suffers as if it were in need until a new host is taken.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, but that if the demon doesn't have the hop, right, then it makes it more difficult. But yeah, that wouldn't apply here. So you're going to get to roll Arathiel's power, and that would be matched up against the will of Stefan. Okay.
Okay. So that'll be 6 dice.
Right.
Okay. Oh, not such a good roll. Well, a weird roll.
But you got the 10.
I got the 10, but then a 5. So we'll
right.
see if there's any.
And he has a will of 3. So it is successful.
Okay.
Because his highest was a 9. So this is going to effectively work. And Walter, why don't you describe what this looks like? what is it going to look like? And with this, when Erethiel leaves Aaron, I mean, Aaron is still going to be alive, but it's not going to be the old Aaron anymore. I mean, he will be, I think, he's going to be confused, but also kind of emotionally, there's going to be a kind of flatness to him at the same time.
Yeah. And, I feel like something else is going on here too, which isn't really explicitly covered in the rules, but I think fictionally should be important, which is, so Aaron asked for, or Erethiel at the time, asked for all three of us to hold hands, right, and pray. And so I think there's this kind of like moment where, like, as Erethiel is hopping from Aaron to Stefan, like, Erethiel knows that, like, at some level he could push its way into Shawn as well, right? And there's like, there's like this binding between Shawn and Erethiel, so maybe it wouldn't work out, but there's like, I think there's like this like moment of like fear as Shawn realizes this, and almost like feels this pushing of Erethiel's spirit into Shawn's body a little bit, just to like, I don't know, kind of like this like power play, just to like fuck with Shawn or something, right? Before finally moving into Stefan's body, and then I think it's like, I think the most notable thing to Shawn, other than feeling this and realizing what's happening, is that, so the tell for Erethiel is these pinpoint pupils that Aaron has had, and as they close their eyes, Aaron has these pinpoint pupils, and has this really firm grip on Shawn's hand. And then after sort of like starting to murmur a prayer, Stefan starts to murmur a prayer, and the prayer kind of trails off like halfway through the prayer. It doesn't get to the end of what he was going to say. And as it starts to like murmur off, I can feel the grip of Aaron sort of loosening and becoming much weaker. And I can feel this firm grip begin to take hold in Shawn's other hand, right, of that Stefan is holding, right? And then Aaron, or Shawn, looks from Aaron to Stefan, and Stefan sort of closes his eyes and opens them again, and there's these pinpoint pupils, right? And now Aaron's pupils are just like totally dilated, like completely dilated, and this look of like terror, and unknowing, comes over Aaron's face.
And I was going to add that Stefan, who is now Erethiel, you hear the Bible verse end, and now it's that vow of the eighth laurel that he's now reciting. And you also have Aaron, who is kind of robotically also alongside Stefan, reciting this vow of the eighth laurel. And so I think at this point, let's do because you would definitely kind of pick up on what has happened now. And and I think we need Shawn to make a humanity check.
I was just thinking that myself. How does that work?
You're going to roll your humanity number, and then I'm going to roll the same number of dice. It's kind of a humanity versus humanity, but we'll go in and clear these, and then.
Okay, so I have 3 humanity dice.
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
And then I'll roll 3. Yeah, so you're able to kind of retain your humanity, but you still, I mean, you obviously recognize what has happened, that your demon is now squarely in Stefan's body. And let's go over to Chuck and Dylan right now. So you've kind of been walking in, and you see this group that is praying. You recognize Shawn and Aaron there with this fellow in his late 20s with a Bible now open in front of him. Chuck, what do you do?
So I've got a duffel bag. It just has like one M16, a couple of guns. I have one gun tucked in behind the back of my belt, and just a bunch of clips and stuff like that. So I just like walk up to the table and I see Shawn, and I think I spout some verse from Revelations that's like totally appropriate, like unintentionally, but totally appropriate to this situation.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm trying to love them for being here in the prayer circle at the smell.
Yeah, and Dylan, what are you going to be doing? Are you going to walk up with Chuck, or are you going to hang back?
So I'd say I walk up. Like, I think when I take a look at this, I'm just like, oh, it's like some kind of fifth floral thing. Weird. I'd say I probably know about the fifth floral a little because I've talked to Shawn and Aaron, so I know they're demony, and I've also like seen like some of the tweets about the revealer. But so I think I'm just like, whoa, we gotta go. And I'm very conscious of the fact that we are carrying weaponry and on a timeline, but I think I just go along with Chuck.
Okay. Yeah, and when Chuck, kind of gives some of the verses from Revelation, you see this guy Stefan. He kind of closes the Bible and says, "I'm impressed with your knowledge, your knowledge of Scripture."
I spout out some other verse from, I'm like from the Old Testament.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like not reading the situation properly. I'm hoping it's coming off that I'm trying to mock them for
Mm-hmm.
their, yeah.
And Stefan, you do see that Aaron has this kind of blank look in his face when you're up there. Shawn, what do you do when you hear Chuck kind of walking up, intervening here with his Bible verses?
Yeah, I think Shawn is like sort of understands that this guy, this bouncer, Chuck. I probably know his name is Chuck. I don't think we've actually really spoken yet, though, other than like a couple words maybe. And I think I figure that he's just mocking us. I think it's clear from his voice and his tone. But Shawn Shawn knows something else is going on, and thinks there's like, oh, he doesn't understand that we're with the eighth laurel. We really know what's going on here. But clearly he's like mocking people who believe in something, right? So yeah, I think I don't know. Shawn just kind of turns to Chuck and says, "Can we help you with something?"
I don't know. Last night was pretty crazy, and now you're here in a prayer circle. That's not going to help you. Dylan and I are going to go take care of some business. We're going to need a driver.
What? Sean's taken aback. I don't understand.
Oh, well, so at this point, Dylan kind of figures out what's going on. Well, maybe you and Aaron can come along.
Dude, this guy needs to take a nap.
Yeah, Shawn looks at Aaron and says, Aaron, how are you feeling? Like Sean knows something big happened, but isn't sure what's going on with Aaron himself right now. So Sean's actually kind of concerned and looking at Aaron. Like,
and you know, Aaron, who has this very blank look, says, I'm not feeling well. I could probably use a nap right now.
yeah, that's a good idea. Here, Aaron, why don't you
Listen,
why don't you go upstairs and take a nap?
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt, but we got some serious shit going down, and it has everything to do with last night. You were there, and you drove us back. You drove Dylan back, and I need to get as much information about what you picked up last night. So your buddies can hang out here. People, that booth over there is dark. Your buddies can go hang out there, take a nap, do whatever they want over there. But Dylan and I are going, and I really need to talk to you about what happened last night.
And Stefan says, I was there at the party too. It was amazing. No, you're going back?
You weren't there last night.
Yeah.
Who are you?
I checked everybody in. I did not see you.
Well, I think maybe I dropped in when you weren't at the door, but and Stefan looks over to Shawn and says, "Come on, Shawn. Yeah, let's go back. They need help."
And Shawn sort of like recognizes the intonation in Stefan's voice and realizes that it's okay. Yeah, Erethal's really in there now, which means he's definitely not in Aaron anymore. Like Shawn's really starting to like accept what's just happened. And it's like, oh shit. Okay, yeah. Look, all right, Stefan, if you think we should help them out, then yeah, I guess we should do that. Hold on a minute. And I stand up Aaron, and I say, Aaron, look, here's the key to my place. You know where I live, right upstairs, right? Go up there and just take a nap on my couch, okay? I'll find you later.
Okay. That sounds wonderful. And he, kind of gets himself up. He moves very slowly. And, he has that one key that you've given him, and he's kind of shuffling off across the floor to go towards the stairs. I think what I would like to do, yes, is something like a pet zombie now. So I think what I would like to do is let me get a lore roll from both Chuck and from Dylan. And this is to kind of see to what extent you maybe are also picking up on the fact that there are intonations, qualities, characteristics, maybe those pupils you're able to kind of pick up on, kind of suggesting that Erethale is now in Stefan's body. So, Jenny, I think with you, we may just keep this as one lore with you. You're still the naive one, but there's still a chance. What is
the knowledge of Erethale and Aaron before? So because Belle knew about Aaron.
You are right.
Did Belle say anything to Dylan or Chuck yet?
So Dylan knows that Aaron is a demon. Mm-hmm. Dylan does not know that Aaron is a possessor, and it wouldn't even occur to him because Belle is like passing.
Yeah. I think what I do want, though, it would make sense to, I want to add at least one die to that lore roll, though, because it's both picking up a demon, but also that, I mean, you knew, I mean, you've had interactions with Aaron before, so I think that there would be additional things that you might be picking up on. Okay, so let me get you to roll 2 dice. And for Erethiel, the power is what again? Is it 6?
Yeah, 6 power.
Okay, so let's do a 2 for and are those your 2 up there?
Or no, Erethiel's power is 7. Erethiel's lower is 6.
Yeah. So this is not going to be difficult to beat. So Walter, you want to go in and roll the 7 for Erethiel?
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, so Dylan is not going to pick up on this, but let's also do the same thing for Chuck, who I think may have a little bit more firepower here. And you're gonna Alejandro,
I'm gonna include Papagayan's power because I have perception, and Papagayan's totally on alert now.
Mhm.
Crazy shit's going down.
Correct.
He's excited, and he would pick up on what just happened and stuff like that, or be prone to it.
Yeah. So what is his power?
6 and 4, so it's 10 so far.
Okay. So let's go on and do that.
Did Walter? Did you roll dice and then you clear it?
Yeah, we've cleared it.
It would be the same roll, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I was debating that. Would it be the same?
I don't know.
Seems reasonable it would be the same roll for Erethiel. I remember the Erethiel's highest was a 5. They were like all the numbers were super low.
Yeah. Yeah, so Alejandro, go on and roll yours and we'll see what. Yeah, so
Oh, I so spotted this.
Oh yeah.
yes.
Not only do I know that Erethiel is a demon, like I know Erethiel's zip code in hell.
Yeah. Yeah, and we're gonna let's just play this out very briefly, and then we're gonna have to kind of call it an end for today's session. But what does Chuck do? I mean, Chuck, so you're picking up along with Papagayan. I would say Papagayan's hair kind of shoots up a little bit, right? Gets that.
So you have these booths, and I imagine that the booths, like they're those booths that the chairs, that the backs go up really high, so that like the back is maybe like 1.5 feet above your head. And as we're doing that, like Papagayan and I just at the same time, it just clicks for the both of us, and Papagayan just jumps on the back of Shawn's chair, so that he's looking at Stefan and just hisses. And I'm like, I look at him and I go, oh shit. And I put my hand on my gun, like in the back. And maybe Dylan sees that. And what the fuck is going on here, man?
What's your cat doing here, man?
He goes everywhere I go. But this shit is not, there's crazy shit going on here.
Whoa, man. I think you need to calm down. We didn't drink that much.
Shawn, you're playing with things most people don't understand. I mean, yeah, Shawn. I'm sorry. I thought I said Walter for a second. You're playing with shit most people don't understand. And I take like a half a step back. Dylan,
Is it clear to Shawn that you have a gun in your hand?
Well, I'm standing like this, like I've got this duffel bag, and then I'm like, oh shit, and I like So
Dylan's
there's
got,
there's,
oh god, this guy has a gun, and I don't know what he's doing. Look on his face.
Okay. Yeah, I think Sean's like, whoa, 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 whoa. This is way out of control. Like Sean, Sean kind of like backs up against the wall. He's like, I don't know what's going on here. This is like you just need to chill out, dude.
do you know what that is? Do you have any idea what that is?
What?
And I'm pointing at Stefan.
Stefan, it's a man with a Bible.
Stefan is not a man with a Bible.
Then what is he?
I look at him, I go, Stefan, does he know?
Stefan says, I think Shawn knows, but Shawn is also not fully aware of just the kinds of wonders that are in this world of ours. But he's on his way. And Chuck, I think you're right. Pardon?
Are you bound to him?
We are close. Shawn and I are.
Who's bound to who here? I look at Shawn and I'm like, I don't think you're in charge.
Now listen. I
put my hand down. I put my hand down like without the gun. Like I relax a little bit.
Okay. Shawn like noticeably relaxes. Shawn was made very uncomfortable by the gun. And Shawn says, all right, now listen here. I am in control of this situation. My friend Aaron, who just went upstairs, and my friend Stefan, we have an understanding, and I don't know what you're making such a big deal about.
Can I say that Dylan at this point is starting to click, right? Like this is. So he looks between Shawn and Stefan, and he's just kind of like, "Hang on, is there anyone in the eighth lore who isn't a demon?"
Whoa, 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 whoa! Hey! Look,
you're in on this too.
Look, this is like, we don't need to go around with using words like that. All right, there are supernatural divine forces that are at power in the world as the eighth laurel becomes ascendant, and a lot of people want to use words like demons or devils or whatever, but look, we are here to uplift mankind and bring everyone's consciousness to a higher realm, and using terminology like that is like really divisive, and it's just totally not called for. Okay.
I look at Stefan and I go, Stefan, is it? We gotta go. Bring your human. He can drive. I look at Dylan and I say, Dylan's in trouble, and we need to take care of this shit.
And Stefan says, yeah, and that was a wild party last night that I quite enjoyed, and I agree. Shawn will come along. I'll explain things to Shawn, and we'll get him up to speed. Don't worry.
And I hand the duffel bag to Shawn. Like, you can carry this.
Huh? What's in here? It feels like guns.
Yeah, you'll figure it. You're figuring it out, buddy, kid. I have a feeling because Chuck's like in his like 18 or 19, right? Isn't Shawn like mid-20s?
Like maybe 22.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I love that Chuck just called you kid, and he's Chuck's younger.
Okay. We're gonna need to end it.